What do hurricanes, gators, rude people, traffic, and insurance fraud all have in common? All that in today's episode and a whole lot more. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Life in South Florida with Joe and Silvana.
Hey guys.
Do not move to South Florida unless you can handle these 5 things. Silvana and I actually put together a list of 7 things, so you're gonna get 5 plus 2 bonus at the very end of the video. So be sure you stay tuned to the end so you can know what the 2 bonus items are. If you didn't know, we are the broker owners of Reform Realty, South Florida homes and luxury estates. And as much as we love to make these videos, we would love it even more to be able to help you with any and all of your real estate needs. So the information that you see popping up below is my direct contact information. I'm the actual person who will be responding to your calls, answering your texts and to your emails. Never hesitate to reach out and ask if you have any questions as it pertains to these videos that we're making or anything related to real estate. I love to be of service to you. We are getting dozens of phone calls every single day from people all around the world who are interested in moving to sunny South Florida. And so if that's you, go ahead and send me a text message right now. Also, take this opportunity to click the subscribe button below. Don't forget to ring the bell so you can be first to be notified whenever we drop brand new content of what it's like to live in sunny South Florida. Typically, when we make these videos, we focus on a lot of the positives of what it's like in South Florida lifestyle. And let's face it, there's tons of great things about living in sunny South Florida. However, all that glitters is not always gold. And with that said, this video is going to focus on a couple of negatives of what it's like to be a Floridian. And if you're also interested, today, Silvana and I are broadcasting to you from the world famous Deerfield Beach Ski Rixon. So if you see people behind us on wakeboards, jumping over these little jumps and stuff like that, you can see more of this in one of my other videos at the end of this video by clicking the link for the Deerfield Beach vlog, where I cover it in depth. All right, here we go. As a former Northerner growing up in New York and Silvana originally from South America, one of the first things that a Northerner recognizes when they move to South Florida is that they have completely given up on the seasons. The 4 seasons, that is. Because in Florida, we really only have 2 seasons. That's summertime and wintertime, because it's always warm year round. In fact, the coldest it ever gets is approximately 55 degrees, give or take. Every now and then we get a cold front, it dips down below that. But for the most part, it's 75 degrees during January, February months in sunny South Florida. And then of course, the rest of the year, it's very hot. However, some of the negatives about being in a tropical climate in sunny South Florida is that it can get a little bit too hot.
A lot hot. Right now, it's May. You see me, I'm wearing a ponytail. I am sweating. So this is really hot for this time of the year.
I'm wearing a white t-shirt. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this video, this t-shirt ended up being see-through because it is hot outside. If I had to guess, I would say it's about 85 degrees. We're sitting under a beautiful palm tree. I am comfortable. I would be more comfortable if I had a refreshing beverage in my hand overlooking the water here, but it is hot out. And with the heat comes humidity. Guaranteed summertime when living in South Florida, from the moment that you walk out your front door to the moment that you sit in your car, you are going to be sweating no matter what outfit you're wearing, even if it's a simple t-shirt like this one. If you wear a suit to go to work, forget about it. It's done. Your whole inside is going to be all wet.
As much as I would like to have my hair loose right now, I cannot because it's just too hot. Obviously, I didn't come prepared today for this video because we're outside in the park. I'm wearing jeans. That is no good.
Here's a pro tip. When you do live in sunny South Florida, not only should you dress accordingly, and you'll notice that a lot of people are always wearing swim trunks and flip-flops, things like that, but also turn the car on the AC, do it sooner, and also park your car in the garage if you have one. It's going to cut down dramatically on how hot your car gets, and it's a little bit more comfortable in the summertime whenever you need to travel. But at the end of the day, most Floridians will say the summertime heat is a small price to pay to live in paradise. Another item specific to weather in sunny South Florida is around the summertime, we have torrential downpours. I mean, the rain is absolutely crazy.
The worst part is that you never know when it's going to happen because you can't even rely on the weather app because it's never right.
I have a Doppler radar on my iPhone, which is actually pretty accurate. And sometimes it gives me like these little notifications that ping on my screen, and it tells me whenever a squall is headed our way. It's cool because you could be at the beach one minute when everything's absolutely beautiful like this, and then the next minute you know that a torrential downpour is headed your direction. So it at least gives you a couple of minutes to pack up your stuff and seek some kind of shelter before you get completely drenched in a flash thunderstorm. Tell them the story about that time that we were at Pompano Beach.
The same day that my husband just bought a brand new tent and coolers to carry all the stuff. 1 minute, nice, hot, sunny, and then 10 minutes later, torrential. It was so bad, we had to go running. I had to go running with the baby. He had to carry all the stuff. We lost the tent.
No, my bad, I'm sorry.
It was not good.
The wind actually came in from off the ocean and grabbed the tent, flipped it up and just threw it 20 yards in the other direction. So the tent that I literally just spent, I think $120 on at Walmart lasted for about 2 hours before it was completely destroyed by an unsuspecting thunderstorm and the winds that came in from off the ocean. I did not have the Doppler on that day. It would have been very useful had I had it. Another thing I'd also like to add, specific to weather in South Florida, is going to be the obvious, and that is hurricane season. And I want to specify, a lot of people say that hurricane season is June, July, August, September, October, November. But the truth is that the first 3 months of summer, June, July, August, are actually hurricane preparedness season or storm season. And the real hurricanes, historically speaking, if you look them up, always happen in the later months, September, October, November. Can you remember the last time you even had a hurricane?
I mean, not really. Every year we prepare for it. We haven't had a bad one in a while.
I've lived in South Florida for the last 20 years. I've been through at least 5 hurricanes. Of the 5 that I can remember, they were Category 2 and Category 3 hurricanes, which are severe hurricanes. It's the real deal. One of them we evacuated. We just got out of town. The reason for our evacuation was because at the time we had a very small baby. I don't remember exactly how old she was, but I remember she was very small, at least 1 year old.
Yeah.
And we just thought it'd be best if we just got out of town, just in case we lost power. I wasn't so concerned about flooding or some type of like disastrous aftermath. We were more concerned about the inconveniences of not having power or not being able to go to the supermarket and get any types of supplies and things like that. Usually, that's what an experienced Floridian will talk about whenever they are either prepared for a hurricane, either being on the back end result of a hurricane. I am not in any way downgrading the level of safety or precaution that somebody should take in the event that a hurricane is approaching, because we do know for a fact that categories 3, 4, and 5 are extremely dangerous and you should take caution when dealing with them as a South Florida resident. With that said, most South Florida residents would also tell you that anything that's a category 1 or a 2 is just not that big a deal. If you live on the ocean front, you treat that a little bit differently, but for the most part, they're just really not that big a deal. You get a bunch of rain, a little bit of wind, you might have some trees down in your backyard, but for the most part, it tends to be an exaggeration by the media, and I think you guys have all seen that happen before.
Also, let's not forget about how we have to prepare. We may not get a bad hurricane, we still have to prepare, so that's a hassle. You have to buy things in advance, because if you don't, you wait until last minute, what happens? You're stuck with probably no food, no generators, and that could create a big problem. So that's also a pain.
Start stocking up on supplies in the beginning of the summertime. If you're in need of a hurricane preparedness list, go ahead and click the link in the description box below. I have a complete list there for you, just so you can be ready when you're visiting or when you plan on moving to sunny South Florida. The second reason is the tourism. So guys, let's just face it, it's beautiful weather. We have beautiful beaches. People visit all the time from all over the world, so we have tourists. Naturally, it's very good for our economy because it's a booster and it keeps people busy and it keeps us employed and allows us to have the many spoils of South Florida lifestyle. On the other hand, most people will vent at the frustration of overcrowding and terrible traffic. You are going to notice that while visiting in South Florida, if you are traveling during peak hours, during rush hour, the traffic on 95 and the major intersections like Glades or even Turnpike near Boca Raton or the major cities like Fort Lauderdale and Miami are absolutely horrendous. I've heard people compare the traffic in South Florida to places like Los Angeles, which I've heard is probably the worst on the planet. Well, South Florida comes in at a close second when it comes to overcrowding and traffic during the high holidays and the tourism venues. I make it a point throughout my business work week to always travel during off-peak hours, simply because I know that I can get to an appointment 2 or 3 times faster during an off-peak hour than I can during rush hour, which makes total business sense. It's more efficient, and you should take the same advice as well. Another interesting fun fact that you should know, our tourism season is always between the months of December and always ends right at Mother's Day in mid-May. Typically, right around the holidays, starting in December, most northerners who visit sunny South Florida will wrap up their holidays, be it Christmas or Hanukkah or the New Year's, but they'll board a flight and jet down to sunny South Florida and ring in the new year in the beautiful weather. And they usually stay up until about end of May when it starts getting too hot and they go back north to enjoy their summers. That is the peak main season in South Florida. And a quick side note, if you're wondering that if you can score a better real estate deal in the off season in South Florida, stop thinking about it. You can't do it because there is no off season in South Florida real estate. It's only specific to tourism and the service industry. Real estate is slammed year round, especially as of the date of the making of this video. How did I know you were thinking that?
Oh, magic!
Because I get that question all the time.
The third reason you should not move to South Florida if you cannot handle it, critters. We have mosquitoes, bugs, sea creatures.
I'm from New York, and we have plenty of little critters in New York as well. The critters in Florida are different.
There's something else.
Let's start with the bugs. We have lots of mosquitoes. You're gonna need to use mosquito repellent when you're outside. You're most likely going to want to utilize your screen doors and screen patio because mosquitoes will bite you. And if you have South American blood like how my wife has, they will feast on you and your blood. Recently, we made the mistake of leaving our windows and doors open in our house. On that night, we must have let in about 100 mosquitoes, no exaggeration. And as a result, the mosquitoes pretty much ate me, my wife, and my daughters alive. And so I went on the internet and I invested in a awesome indoor bug zapper. I was a little bit skeptical at first, wondering if this thing was actually going to work. But let me tell you, we must have zapped about 50 mosquitoes in the first 2 nights of owning this device. Again, if you're interested in that device, I'm gonna put the link in the description box below. Go ahead and click the link. It'll take you right to where you can purchase it. It was very inexpensive. I bought 2 of them and I stuck one on one side of the house and another on the other side of the house, inside the house. And we could hear mosquitoes exploding throughout all over the night.
I have never been so happy to hear that sound. And we were like, yes!
Yes! But we definitely have a lot of bugs in Florida. What else can we say about bugs? Cockroaches.
Flying, cockroaches, scary.
Yeah, we live in a tropical climate, so they live outside, and sometimes when the temperature drops, it gets a little bit cold, they try to come inside. Usually they bury themselves underneath your garage door, and then whenever they have an opportunity, like when you open the door to like take the garbage out or something like that, one of them will try to shoot in and get in. We do see them. When we see them, we usually squash them and flush them, and if we ever see more than 2 or 3 in a given week, then we'll go ahead and call the guy, and he'll come out and he'll spray. And then usually like one service spray, which costs about $85 or maybe $125, something like that. And usually that does it, but it is very common to see cockroaches in your home in Florida, regardless if it's a single family or a condo, you will see them. Don't freak out. Don't think you may have an infestation problem. It's common to see them, unfortunately, but it is what it is.
Now, the other creatures, insects, that's your favorite that we have plenty of here in South Florida, especially if you have lanais in your patio. What is it that you're always, when you're outside, roaming around?
She's talking about spiders. We have different types of spiders here. I want to talk about 2 types. The first type is the one that she mentioned. This is your common everyday crab spider. Really tiny, 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 tiny. They have like a hard shell on their back and it makes them kind of look like a crab. I've never seen these types of spiders prior to living in Florida. So I don't know if they're like indigenous to Florida or tropical climates, but we don't have these in New York. So these little tiny crab spiders like to weave their nets up in the corners of your lanai, your screened porch area. Quite honestly, they're a little bit of a turn off. I'm usually out there with my broom and I'm usually just kind of like brooming them away. To be completely upfront, I am terrified of spiders. I hate them. I probably have a mild case of arachnophobia, but these crab spiders don't bother me at all. Those crab spiders are extremely common. They're really not that scary and they don't hurt you. They're just there and you just broom them down. The second spider that I want to talk about that South Florida has, which is crazy and I'm very afraid of, banana spider. They're as big as my hand. You don't see them around your house though. That's the good part. You'll only see them on like nature trails or in a preserve somewhere. Definitely like off the beaten paths, up in the trees, and you can't miss them. I mean, they're huge. They're as big as my hand. We also have for critters is lots of lizards. If you're not from Florida, the first things you'll notice is as you're walking along the path, you're gonna see like these little lizards like running across the path. I think they're cool. I think they just kind of add to the character of South Florida lifestyle. They don't bother you at all. They like eating vegetables and stuff like that. Somebody once told me that they eat spiders, so I think that's a good thing.
I think they're cute and, you know, they may help with cleaning out some of those bugs that we don't like.
We do have other lizards like snakes. I personally have only really seen garden snakes, which don't bother me at all. They just kind of run away from you. And we also have iguanas. Now, iguanas can be anywhere from about 1 foot to 6 feet long. They're huge. I think they're super cool looking. Most people in South Florida disagree. They don't like them because they will poop on their patio or overcrowd or overpopulate somebody's lawn. What about gators?
They are everywhere, especially here where you have so many lakes. Beware when you're walking your pets next to the lakes because there could be a gator there and we wouldn't even know it.
In the 20 years that I've lived in Florida, I've never seen a gator in a place that was residential. residential.
That's incorrect. We have when we used to live in Boca, remember?
Nope.
In the playground.
Oh yeah, that's right, we did see that. We saw one small gator in Boca West. Other than that, the only place I've ever seen gators is at the gator farm in a habitat. Usually if there's a gator spotted, somebody makes a phone call, animal control comes and has it removed. The water that's behind us, there could be gators in there, and there's people swimming in this water right now. For the most part, South Florida is safe from gators. If you go all the way west out to the Everglades, well, that's gator country. The same precautions don't follow suit out there. You should actually be very safe if you're visiting gator country. What about critters at the beach?
Sharks. Sometimes they're right at the shore. Is that gonna prevent you from going into the ocean? Not me.
We also have man-o-war jellyfish, which are big, dangerous jellyfish. You should not touch them. You know, the sting is very painful. It's also extremely hazardous to your health. We also have sea lice. In the hot summer months, when the water is extremely warm and the sun is very hot out, that still standing hot water with seaweed has lice, and the lice will get into your bathing suit. If that happens, you get a rash. It's itchy, it sucks.
Always when you get to the beach, look at the signs that the lifeguard put for what's going on there, whether it's sea lice or not. And then as soon as you get off the beach, before you even get in your car, just rinse off so that way it's safer.
All right, so the fourth thing that you need to be able to handle if you're gonna move to South Florida, the poor school systems. We have lackluster school systems, subpar at average. It's very simple for me to tell you where the A-rated school systems are because there are so few of them. In Palm Beach County, the cities that have A-rated schools are Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens, Wellington, Boca Raton. That's it. The rest are lower than A, and in some cases, D-rated. In Broward County, there are only 3 cities that have A-rated school systems: Parkland, Weston, Southwest Ranches. The rest are also below A categories. And finally, in Miami-Dade, there is only 1 city that has A-rated school system, and that is Coral Gables. The rest are sub-average.
This is only for public schools, correct?
Yes. There are exceptional private schools and prep schools throughout all of South Florida. Of course, they do cost a pretty penny, and so I do recommend that if you are interested in the best standardized education for your children, to consider the private schools, prep schools, Christian schools, and even homeschool programs nearby. Reason number 5, the people. Most people in South Florida are not from South Florida. Many are from South America. Many are from New York. And as a result, we have lots of different types of people. I think the number 1 most common negative trait that people comment about South Florida people is that they can be very pretentious, fake, arrogant,
superficial.
Lots of accusations according to those natures. I think some of that comes from the massive amount of wealth that exists in South Florida. I'm not saying that wealthy people are jerks or that wealth leads to being a jerk, but it is very consistent to recognize and notice that while visiting here or living here, that if you frequent some of the more high-end places, you're going to recognize that some people have very high standards for service and other people are just complete jerks when it comes to any level of service, no matter what. I, for one, worked as a professional waiter in the service industry for about 10 years while I was going through high school and during college years. While I was working as a professional waiter, many of those places that I worked at were fine dining establishments. And I've met some very cool people, but I've also met a lot of these pretentious jerks, especially while I was working in Boca Raton. And I think if you ask anybody who has lived here long enough, they may have come into contact with these type of jerks, and they usually look like the douchey type. We don't have to elaborate on that. You know exactly what I'm talking about. They're always talking about how much better things are where they're from back home in New York or wherever they're from in South America or somewhere else. And it's like, dude, if you like it that much, then why don't you just move back there? You know, that's another thing that you should probably know about and be ready for and have to deal with if you're gonna live in sunny South Florida. Okay, so that's 5 reasons, which means you've made it to the bonus round. But before we do, if you haven't already, go ahead and click the subscribe button below. Don't forget to ring the bell so you can be first to be notified whenever we drop brand new content of what it's like to live in sunny South Florida. So the next 2 bonus reasons are as follows. Do not move to South Florida if you cannot handle the current housing market.
Be prepared to make offers, loose offers.
Inventory.
Super low.
The demand.
Super high.
Exactly. Inventory is at an all-time low. It's never been lower. Demand is at an all-time high. It's never been higher. And because of things like beautiful weather, beautiful beaches, lower taxes, social, political, economic, constitutional rights and freedoms, and a hot political environment, there have never been more people who've been wanting to move to South Florida than right now. And as a result, all of this will contribute to the extremely high pricing that we are seeing in the resale market, in the new construction market, and in the rental market as well. Let's start from the rental market.
People, unfortunately, are not able to get a place. People that have already a place are getting letters that their rent is increasing. It's really chaos.
When somebody comes to me and says, hey, Joe, we're moving to sunny South Florida. We're not ready to purchase. We want to rent first. What can we do? The answer to the question, as of the making of this video, the date that is that they will need approximately 12 months upfront of monthly rent. Also, if the monthly rent is asking, let's just say, for example, $2,800 a month, in order for you to secure that rental unit, you're going to have to compete with another bidder, and you will likely need to outbid them up to $3,000 a month. So not only are rental rates increasing, but the rental rate that a landlord is asking for is being bid higher by the competitors that are in the marketplace. And instead of giving the standard first month, last month, and security deposit up front, what we're seeing is that renters are giving 12 months upfront total just to secure the lease agreement for a 12-month term.
What else are they doing?
Submitting background checks in full, credit check, background check, reference check, income check. Do you have any pets? It's gonna hurt you. Why? What do you mean? A dog, it's a family friend. I have an emotional support pet. You can have an emotional support pet, but guess what? If you are a prospective tenant and there are 3 other prospective tenants who want to rent my unit, chances are the landlord is going to pick the prospective tenant who doesn't have a cat or a dog because 2 reasons. 1, they feel that the animal is going to cause some type of damage to the home. They would prefer to choose not to have a tenant with an animal. Number 2, there is a presupposition that the landlord's homeowner's insurance premium will go higher because there is a particular animal or particular breed of animal on that property, and the landlord just chooses not to deal with it. And so, because of the high demand and the low inventory, rentals have become increasingly difficult for South Floridians and folks who are trying to get here also. Let's talk about the resale market, something that we deal in every single day. We're seeing a lot of homes that are selling right now for well over the asking price. I'm gonna give you a real life example of something I've seen just in the last week. I saw 3 properties. All 3 of them were located near downtown West Palm Beach. All 3 were built around the 1930s, almost 100 years old. All 3 properties were approximately 1,100 square feet with 2 bedrooms. All 3 properties were asking approximately $500,000, and eventually all 3 properties ended up selling for $625,000 cash. That's insane. But who am I to say? Let's face it, the property is valued at what somebody is willing to pay for it. And in this crazy market, we are seeing more transactions like that one on the regular. Much of these transactions are not financed. They're being done in cash. So these are strong cash deals. There's also a challenge with new construction. As you may already know, South Florida is very skinny. On one side, we have the ocean. On the other side, we have the Everglades. We have very little land to build on. Most of the land has already been developed, and whatever land is left over has already been spoken for and is in the process of being developed. And so new construction also follows the basic law of supply and demand in that there's very little supply, and once again, the demand is extremely high. And with more and more wealthy people moving to South Florida on a regular basis, these new construction builds are highly desirable. At the end of this video, you can click on the link and it's going to take you to a recent video that Savannah and I did about new construction homes in Boca Raton starting at $1.3 million. It's the brand new Lotus Palm.
The problem is that even if you have cash, you still have to put in your name on a waiting list, and then a lottery happens. So even if you have the money to get the home that you want, you have to depend on this lottery.
Hope you guys like gambling. No, but in all sincerity, it's not a gamble. It's a waiting list. You put your name in the hat, and attached to your name, you also put a $10,000 deposit. If you have questions with regard on how to do that, contact me at the contact information below. I will fast track you. I'll make sure that your name gets on that list. I'll make sure that you have priority. I will help you secure the deposit in the appropriate way. Then, when the builder releases the selection of lots, then and only then, and at that time, will your name get called, and the first people that respond to those lots are the first ones that receive that level of service, and then you can go forward with picking your lot, picking your upgrades, picking your style build, and securing your new construction home with a lead time of approximately 12 months from the day of breaking ground in this market. 7th, seventh and final reason of things that you should know that you need to handle before moving to South Florida is the insurance costs. It's extremely common for folks who are from out of state to inquire about automobile insurance, homeowners insurance, other types of insurance. Whenever they receive their quotes, their immediate response is usually like, whoa, where do they get off charging me that kind of money for this type of insurance? What the heck is going on? The number one major reason is that South Florida is a popular hotbed for insurance fraud. Many different cases and claims and settlements, and as a result, the way that the insurance company offsets those costly settlements is by charging a higher premium. So you can bet that your automobile insurance is going to be super expensive, more expensive than probably anywhere else in the United States. You know what other type of insurance is very expensive?
Homeowners insurance.
Exactly. And can you guess why? Hurricane country. We did mention it to you earlier in this video about how infrequent these large hurricanes are. However, whenever they come through, there's always a claim. Legitimate claims combined with illegitimate claims that end up being some type of level of fraud causes the insurance provider to charge a higher premium. And as a result, one could expect for homeowners insurance to be much more expensive than any other place within the country.
Well, this is the price that you get to live in this beautiful place.
Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the 5 things that you must know in order to handle living in South Florida, plus 2 bonus reasons. We look forward to seeing you on the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video with a friend, and we will catch you on the next one. Many blessings.